What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Tuesday, February 4th. I'm stoked to finally be back. I had a crazy weekend. I went to the Rumble. Monster shout out Indianapolis. What a heck of a city to host a heck of an event and a heck of a week for pro wrestling. It was awesome. It was wrestling all over the city. It was really cool to see. I'm stoked about it. And then we also had a really electric Monday Night Raw last night that we're going to break down today. If we're going to break down today's Raw, I've got a couple people hanging with me I got to introduce to you. Let me start first out in Canada with Coby Galenzoski. What's good, buddy?
What's going on? And of course, it feels like it's been a long time since I've done 3 shows in a row. And of course, I'm ready and I'm here to enjoy talking about Monday Night Raw because, of course, I reviewed it last night. And I thought it was, from a standpoint of the storytelling show, it was great. There were things that were set up that are going to matter in the next near future. But the first half of the show was kind of weak because there was kind of 2 promos that were all right. And I mean, the Penta match was whatever, but I mean, there's a lot to talk about. And of course, there's someone else you have to introduce.
Absolutely. Let's get right to that. Let's send it across the pond. Speaking of reviewers, we've got Archie Carter himself in the building. What's going on, Arch?
I'm doing good, mate. My football team, Chelsea, won last night, so I'm in a good mood. It's good to have you back, Clark. And it was a good show for Raw last night. Lots to talk about. So yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get right into it without question. Okay, let's start with Jey Uso. I was there for the win. It was emotional then, and he didn't even really talk. We were just yeeting the whole way. The crowd spilling out of Lucas Oil Stadium. It was a lot of this. It was a lot. It was awesome. It was a huge moment. I saw the reaction online. I'm just going to start with that and was kind of stunned, kind of flabbergasted because it was not the reaction that we had in the building. I do want to mention a key detail. When I was there, I found it interesting when you're walking around to the various merch stands throughout the actual stadium itself. You had the big one that had all the title belts and extended merch, I would call it, that had multiple superstars. But if you went to like what I would call more like the kiosk, the smaller stand, that's about the size of like a hot dog cart, the only 2 male superstars that had individual gear and not Rumble gear, like not just Rumble specific gear, there were John Cena and Jey Uso. And so out of the gates, I was kind of like, are those going to be our final 2? That one kind of stuck with me. And all I said to my friend that I was watching the show with was, I really do hope it's Jey then and not Cena if it gets down to those 2.
Yeah.
Sure enough, it does, which to me made it fun. We've got a comment too that I want to check out real quick. Number 1 Superfly says hello, and also Jey Uso's promo was great. I agree. I think Jey winning was great too, though. Let's not overlook that. This is a long time coming. You look back at like Bash at Berlin, and he's not even on that show, and half the crowd's wearing Yeet shirts. And you look at this event, it was split right down the middle, especially when you look at the younger generation between Yeet and Cena, which is something that I didn't anticipate in 2025, but that's where we're at. This promo last night, it was emotional. It was a long time coming, and I thought he did a great job. I know I talked a lot more about the Rumble, but let's talk about the promo specifically. Coby, I'm going to go to you first. The Rumble win followed by this promo. Is Jey going to have that moment in the sun a la Kofi, a la Danielson at Mania? Or is this something different? I don't know. Talk to me about that.
What are we going to start trademarking? Yeetlemania or something along those lines? I don't think Yeetmania makes sense. It has to be Yeetomania because WrestleMania. And that's the syllable. But like to me, the thing that stands out is the fact that we saw an overall negative reaction on the IWC. We saw the dislikes on the YouTube videos, and then you look at what happened on Monday Night Raw, and you go, "Oh, these numbers represent a small amount of people." I don't think there was one person in that arena not standing on their feet giving Jey Uso a standing ovation after just having fun. He got his encore. He literally had to start his theme again so he could do all the yeeting. Like it was a moment that made you look and go, yeah, even though maybe there is a negative reaction on social media, it really isn't going to represent a lot of wrestling fans. And it doesn't. There were I think they said 13,000 people in Cleveland last night. That was a large amount of people, and I think the majority of them were yeeting, applauding him, chanting, "You deserve it," all of the above. And it just proves that it was I don't want to say the right decision, because I do think it was a smart decision at this point. I think the thing is he told the truth. He told the truth of, I mean, he was a tag team guy. He was a tag team guy trying to make a living with his twin brother, and he never knew that he could go singles route. And that's kind of what he's been able to finally discover within himself, that he actually can. And I think that's the cool part of this. I think they did a lot of good stuff, especially with the promo, is we have Gunther going, "This doesn't interest me. I don't need to beat you again. If I'm talking about my legacy, beating Jey Uso at WrestleMania does nothing for it. And we've already planted the seeds." That's where I go with that opening promo. They did well. This is what they succeeded in. Jey Uso poured his heart out and was able to establish the connection that he does have, and almost prove WWE right for giving him that Rumble win 2 days after. Gunther handled his own and was able to put Jey Uso back in the underdog position, because you're still going to be fighting from below. You are still going to be fighting up, or punching up, if you want to call it that. And I think they did well. I do expect that is the direction, that it is Jey Uso versus Gunther. I just don't think it's going to be a main event of WrestleMania, like they kind of are doing what they always do, and saying, "Oh, the winner of the Rumble is the main event of WrestleMania." I don't think it's a main event.
I did find one other thing very interesting, speaking of t-shirts and whatnot too, though. That Rumble winner t-shirt, I don't know if you noticed the difference between Jay's and Charlotte's. Charlotte's had her logo under Charlotte Flair. Jay had the main event logo between Jay and Uso on his shirt.
That's cool.
And
nice touch.
It was a nice touch. It was a subtle touch. So while I hear where you're coming from, I'm not 100% sure, Cobe, that he's not going to be in the main event, because he also has mentioned that he's main evented WrestleMania before. And I remember because we were there, but
we were.
I don't.
I mean, then it would be a night one. I think the thing is
which is fair.
I keep saying they have 2.5 months, but they do. They have 2.5 months to make this the second biggest story for a night one main event. I don't think it is night two.
One of those things, though, as many times as we've done these 2-night manias, we do forget main eventing night one still counts. It counts.
Well, it does. Absolutely.
You're main eventing a WrestleMania card. To me, that counts. We've got some comments to run through before I toss it over to you, Archie, here, because I got a little question for you as well. I Make Beats said, "I'm happy for Jay, well deserved, and I'm no Cena fan, but the final two was a lot of fun." Then he said Uso, but he also said the IWC are morons. Not everyone, but a lot. And I find this interesting because, you know, when we speak about the IWC blanket statement, and I'm not saying that's what you're doing here, I Make Beats, not in the least. We're talking about the bad guys of the IWC, right? But being at the show, half the internet, including myself, was in that building and reacted very positively to Jey Uso. And we got to figure out a way to categorize certain sections of the IWC. I don't know exactly where the vocal majority was coming from, because sometimes it's the over-the-top AEW diehard looking to pick some low-hanging fruit and take a shot at a slightly surprising decision, or it could be your diehard Cena fan doing the exact same thing. Maybe it was the Cena disappointment. I'm not sure it was either this time. And, you know, I Make Beats, I know exactly the types that you're on about 100%. And that's kind of the point I'm making. But I almost feel bad because there are members that will get looped into the IWC that were in that building and were so positive about it and had such a good time. You wrote glowingly about it in the review, Coby, right? Like this is an interesting juxtaposition when it comes to the internet wrestling community that I think needs to be figured out at some point, because it isn't all bad, but it's definitely not all good. And exactly that's what I'm talking about. I just want to, I make beats with it. I just want to enjoy wrestling and talk about it. People love to hate. I have no time for it. 100%. And I think, criticism, I have no problem with, right? You do have to keep the product in check as a fan, right? If your favorite team management isn't bringing in enough talent to compete, you're going to complain. That's a part of the deal, right? It could be other things like that. That's just a broad example, right? A metaphor for it. But at the same time, there's got to be a balance struck here in some way, because it isn't all bad, but it is on the internet right this second, and it's kind of frustrating. Archie, though, before we keep it moving, talk to me about Jay's promo, and then, of course, the Rumble win as well.
So, that reaction last night, somehow Jey Uso is more over than he was before. And I find it funny when the IWC said, he's got more dislikes than likes on YouTube. Just look at the reaction he got, not just last night, week in and week out. That connection with the fans that he has got, it's something that wrestlers spend years trying to find, and sometimes not even being able to find it. We've had the yes movement. This is the yeet movement, what we've got going on now. And I thought the start of this promo was emotional, but that's because it was real. This wasn't Jey Uso talking. This was Joshua Fatu talking. This was something that was coming from the heart. And if I'm honest, watching it, it was emotional for me to watch, because I don't know how you can be anything but happy for this guy who spent over a decade trying to get to this moment, this big moment that he is at right now. And I'm sure that maybe he didn't even think this moment was possible. As he said in his promo, a lot of people saw him as a tag team wrestler, and that's probably played on his mind for quite a bit, that he didn't think he had what it takes to be the single star that he is today. I thought the inclusion of Gunther in the promo was fantastic. It's quite funny because, the IWC literally wrote Gunther's promo for him last night. Everything he was saying is kind of what the haters on the IWC was saying. You're not kind of on my level. This isn't a matchup that interests me, and it doesn't add to my legacy. And, I was coming into the daily today with my fantasy booking hat on and trying to pitch to you guys a path to WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship. But honestly, after this segment, I'm all for Jey Uso and Gunther one-on-one at WrestleMania. And I think, I'm all for Jey Uso and Gunther at WrestleMania. But what I want to see, firstly, is I want to see Gunther put into action what he said. By WrestleMania, I want to see Jey Uso bandaged up after the beatings he's been getting, that he's had at the hands of Gunther. I want to see him bandaged up, Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30 style. I want to see Gunther week in, week out do what he said and try and make Jey Uso regret choosing him at WrestleMania, make his life a living hell. This rivalry, it has a ton of potential. Let's kick it up a gear. And I want to see that vicious side of the ring general that we've really yet to see in WWE on the main roster.
Yeah, I want to see the soft G version of the ring general. 100%. I'm with you there. Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. And it's funny. I was thinking about the Saturday night's live main event match, and it was really, really, really good. And
it's brilliant.
The Rumble and this promo gave more meaning to it, which I think is impressive. And that's a little bit of a lost art in today's wrestling world, is like, that's a vehicle that can be a constant reminder of what Gunther is capable of doing against and to Jey Uso. And if he continues to punch down at him, I love the idea of the bandaged up. I love the idea of just mauling him. Just absolutely be that vicious.
Yeah, absolutely. He needs to be fighting from underneath. You can say that he already is, but
and I love this. Comments wise, we've got I make beats said Jay is organic as they come. He got over himself, and then he said, "I was a big Rikishi fan. People loved him and his gimmick but his gimmick was his butt. Have some fun, people. Yeet. And he said, I do like how they had Gunther realize that Jay isn't just a mascot and that he has the fight in him. It makes the rematch more interesting where Gunther knows he has to bring it 100%. And then we also have added Gunther looked more dominant when he was IC champ. I agree. I want to see a little more of that directed at Jey Uso.
Just I will say one more thing. I think Jey Uso is actually the perfect foil for Gunther. He's everything his character hates. You know, he's literally everything his character hates. He's the perfect foil for him, more so than anyone Gunther has faced before.
Oh, there's
a lot of fodder to use in this. There's a lot of killing
100%.
in this fire. Because like you said, it goes against Gunther's character. We know what they've done. Over the last year, I think they said four matches Gunther's beaten Jay all of them. There's so many things to play on that you can play with it being Gunther being I'm what wrestling's supposed to be. Jay is a mockery of what it is or whatever. You have the losses. You have Jey Uso going, I've never beaten Gunther, but I want to. There's so many things that I can sit here and say they can delve into that. I'm excited for it. They have 2.5 months to tell so many narratives.
Plenty of time.
I hope they tell a lot. I hope they tell most of them, and it's not week in, week out. They need to tell us an actual story. If they tell us an actual story, I'm excited.
Let main event Jey Uso come and not yeet Jey Uso.
Exactly. Okay. We need to remember who Jey Uso was, because he was the same guy that captivated us in the Bloodline for his acting, for the fact that he looked so in distress so many times, and he was someone who at a time there were people saying Jay should have thrown Roman instead of Cody. Like, remember that was happening, and now he's just the Yeet Man, so he needs to go back to that Jey Uso in this 2.5 months stretch.
I hear that. Let's keep it rolling here, though. Let's talk about our other Rumble winners promo. Charlotte Flair. Ooh. I don't know if that was the plan, but that was a lot of booze, and it didn't feel warranted. This is what's weird, though. Charlotte really hasn't done anything for anyone. She just kind of explained that she overcame a knee injury. And so the expectation that she was going to go out and cut a babyface promo, she's a pro. It worked out. You have Ripley get involved in everything. It is what it is here, but can you make a little more sense of this to me, Coby? That's what I'm going to lead with here.
The best thing is I just don't know if I can at this point. The thing is even on face value, for someone who's going to go out into the crowd, or not into the crowd, go out into the ring, she was shaking hands with the people in the aisle. She's very much I don't want to say being humble, because she isn't being humble, but she's being down to earth. Like, I love this business. I love the people that I can positively affect. And then it's almost like the crowd switched on her. She got her pop, she got cheers during the entrance. And then she started to talk about the adversity, which if someone's going to return after a major knee injury and not just go full heel, like, you would think they would get babyface reactions. Like, the other notable few were Shotzi, with Shotzi returned in a face role. Cora Jade returned attacking Julia, so of course she's going to be a heel. Charlotte returned and just won the Rumble and kind of proved that she still is able to do this. And she got the boost. I think what WWE have to do is they have to take this as a way to reflect. They need to go, okay, well, we know why we were trying to keep kind of Tiffany Stratton as this cocky, this I always knew I was this good. Now everyone else knows it. But the fact of the matter is they need to know that Charlotte's not this face. Charlotte is not the face to Tiffany Stratton, if that's the move. I do think they very well could do Charlotte and Rhea 3 at WrestleMania, but I doubt it at this point, because there is other seeds planted that Archie gets to talk about. But I mean, like I said, they have to sit here and go, okay, well, we need to figure out how to put Tiffany Stratton in the role of, yeah, you're the face, but without going so far away from what makes Tiffany Stratton Tiffany Stratton.
I
And I
agree.
think that's why they originally kept it like, okay, she's going to be the cocky. I was always better. Of course, I was going to do this, blah blah blah, and that's what they did. But I do think they could have went the route of, yeah, Nia Jax was being a bad friend. Tiffany Stratton had enough of it, overcome it, and then you could have just let her star
Right.
out.
Okay.
Her being at the top kind of corrupt her in the kind of the same way Cody is at this point.
Yes.
But
We got a
didn't.
bunch of comments here. So we've got Charlotte will never be fully embraced by the fans, and then Charlotte needs to be a heel as much as she was putting her heart out on what she had to do to get back in the ring. The reaction from the fans tells me that Charlotte needs to be a heel, and then Charlotte was forced down our throats. I have a really, really, really interesting point here that I want to make. Charlotte Flair as a babyface is like taking a Formula One car off-roading. It sounds really, really fun on paper until the car gets stuck in the mud. And she was born to be a heel. That's the role she plays. Like she oozes someone to be jealous of. She's really good at everything. She's really well spoken. She's got her nose stuck up in the air at you. It's hard to make her a babyface. You maybe could for a time, but the route there is very difficult. And a knee injury, bless her for the recovery and how difficult it was. But it isn't enough to fully turn a fan base to be like sympathetic to arguably the most well-equipped, right? It's hard to like the most talented person in the room.
Yeah.
Even if they're good people, there's going to be a section of the room that's like, well, why are they so fast and good at that and smart? How do they get good grades and play sports?
I mean, the funniest part is the last time she was face, like the last kind of time she turned face was beating Ronda Rousey in a squash match. And then even then she went right back to heel because nobody was going to boo Rhea Ripley.
And you have Becky too involved in all those equations. Like, it's just, I mean, that's a tall task for anyone. But what's not a tall task is if you want to download the app from our friends over at Etsy, you want to check this out. We did a live stream for the Rumble. We're going to have more live streams coming up more often. And the best part is you can jump in and argue with us if you want to. You want to bug me about Cody Rhodes? Feel free. It's going to be a good time, but go ahead and download the Etsy app on the App Store or the Google Play Store and head to the upcoming stream section. That's the App Store and the Google Play Store. So whether you got an iPhone or an Android, whatever you're doing over there, you can download this app. And I highly recommend you do. We're having fun over there. Speaking of having fun, though, let's keep it rolling on today's show. We've got Rhea Ripley costing the Sky. I've always wanted to do that on the show. I've never really nailed it perfectly. Archie talked to me about this one, and Coby obviously mentioned we were going to discuss more of Ripley. What were your thoughts when it comes to Ripley and Sky?
Well, EO Sky fans, start getting excited because as I've been predicting for months, as these guys know, I've been saying it's going to be Rhea Ripley and EO Sky at WrestleMania. And my prediction just feels even more stronger after last night. Despite EO losing, this was a fantastic match. I'd probably say a lot better than their Saturday night main event match, which was also a good match. If I put my reviewing hat on, I'd probably say there was a couple of timing issues maybe at the start, which were noticeable enough to kind of take you out of it a bit. But it was a brilliant match, and I thought the ending was incredibly smart, as was the stuff after the match. Because the thing is, despite what the IWC say, WWE aren't just going to put, no matter how good the match is, no matter how good the performers in the match is, they're not just going to put any match on WrestleMania without an interesting enough story. And that's what we saw the start of between Rhea Ripley and EO Sky today. It was the start of a very interesting story in terms of now EO has to fight against the odds to get into the Elimination Chamber match. Not even just to win it, just to get into the Elimination Chamber match because of one of her good friends in Rhea Ripley. And we're just getting started with this. And I've got a feeling that Rhea Ripley versus EO Sky is certainly on the way for WrestleMania. I've seen some people say it might be an Elimination Chamber and it could be a Liv Morgan situation where it's a rivalry that's being set up for after WrestleMania. But I just think so many people want this match, not even just people in the IWC or online. You can see that Rhea and Io are one of the most over women's wrestlers in the company right now. Io has just gotten over just from her in-ring work, basically, just from how cool she is in the ring and how cool her aura is. Rhea's one of the most over wrestlers in the business. She gets Austin level pops each night. This is a match that people want to see. And, there's lots of potential challenges for Rhea at WrestleMania. Charlotte was one. Bianca Belair is another one, which is one I don't think they should rush, like with a 1 month build. Rhea and Io, it has a story there. They've already started it.
Yeah.
That's the match for Rhea at WrestleMania, in my opinion. And I'm looking forward to it.
I'm with you. And you made a great point about Io, how much the fans like her. She's kind of still a tweener, I would say. I would lean heelish, but
I think she's kind of probably mainly a face now.
Pretty much a face at this stage. But I mean, she's played a heel for a long time. What was interesting to me, though, is being at the Rumble, I was on the floor for the entire Women's Rumble. And when her music hit, it was as if it was like a return. Like I was actually blown away by the overwhelming fan reaction. Not that I'm not a huge Io fan, I am. Yeah, I just didn't realize everybody else was in on it.
The thing is with the thing is with Io is actually her popularity is actually a very recent thing. Because if you were looking at a few months ago when she was with when she was doing stuff with PFC and she was kind of stuck in the tag team division, she had some cheers. But now we're starting to see her popularity really surge. And this is the time to put her in a prominent spot at WrestleMania once again. She's more over, more popular. People care about her more this year than they did last year at WrestleMania when she was fighting Bayley. So I think it's only right that she gets in a prominent spot again.
It was hysterical. There was a group of, kids, big fans that were a few rows behind us near the railing on the floor section. And with those chairs, they're standing on the chairs mostly. And when Io's music hit, I loved it. It was a great moment, so wholesome. The parents were like, no, you can't jump off the chairs because they're going goddess of the sky. They're going to jump off the chairs in excitement.
I don't blame them.
And it was awesome. No, it was just cool. Right? Like, this is why we do this. Like, and her popularity. And I know I kind of fumbled the bag there on the way I was explaining. I'm like, she was a heel for so long. Obviously, face now, but I didn't realize how over she had gotten in a short period of time. Almost there's a groundswell of support.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny to say the PFC helped her turn face.
Weirdly,
in a way, everyone hates the PFC.
I know.
Yeah, and I think they were kind of good, kind of crash dummies for her, I guess, in a way, just to kind of show how cool she is in a way. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So credit to PFC for that, even though I don't think they're the most interesting faction. They are a kind of
they made it work.
Good. Yeah, they made it work.
They made it work 100%. Okay. Let's go to this one early because I think we could spend pretty much the rest of the afternoon on it if we had to. Because I've been excited about this for a while, and not to toot my own horn, but I called it.
Yeah.
Called it. Run Sami and Kevin in Mania. Called it before the turn of the new year. Package pile driver on Zayn. From a limping KO. Gosh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Let these guys, though, paint their masterpiece in this one at Mania. We've seen them at Mania take the blinders off, get rid of the reins, get rid of all of that. Send these two wild horses out there until somebody walks back and the other one gets carried back to the back at WrestleMania, and let us have every minute of it. Because we know how good they are. We know how close they are. We know this is going to be the steal the show match. This is your Kurt Angle Shawn. And yeah, we've seen it before. And Kurt and Shawn only did it, at Mania the one time. But this is your Kurt Angle Shawn match. This is your Brett and Owen. This is your Brett and Austin. This is your non-main event that absolutely steals the show. And I'm here for it. I love every bit of it. And for anybody that's complaining about, well, we've seen Sami and Kevin, we haven't seen them this mad.
It's been it's been
No.
4 years.
Yeah.
Yippee.
So
Like,
let's
you can
Four
figure
long
that out.
years.
Numero one Superfly is all over 3 stages of hell. Sign me up. I don't know which stages I would go. Actually, that's a lie. I absolutely know which stages I would go. Out of the gates, street fight, second
Yep.
match, drop some sort of a structure, whether it's Hell in a Cell or a cage, and the third one go last man standing, keep that cage down.
I think it's got to be. Sorry. Yeah, I'll get into it in a second.
No, get into it. You know what? I'll go right to you. If we were doing 3 stages, what's it going to be? And then also your thoughts on the last night, the turn. KO Sami, another chapter.
These guys are destined to do this forever. You know, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This is probably, and I'm confident in saying this. This upcoming match that they're having has the potential to be to have the best story a Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn match has ever had. And if it was up to me, I'd do it. I'd do one at Elimination Chamber in Toronto, and I'd do one at WrestleMania at Hell in a Cell, and I'd allow them the Drew and Punk treatment. Just let them paint that canvas, paint the ring with their blood, because this is real hatred, and and I wanted to see a Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn blood feud in WWE for a while now, right? And this is the perfect time. You know, we've seen they've interacted with each other at so many different points in their career, but I feel like this now is the peak of storytelling we'll be able to get for KO and Sami Zayn. It has the potential to be. It's not yet, but it has the potential to be. And I think, am I right in saying that's the first package pile driver Kevin Owens has done actually on TV? Because the Saturday night's main event
if you
one was
include
off.
Saturday night's main event being on cable, then no. But
that was also after the show ended, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. But I would say and at least at the very, very least on a flagship show.
Yeah. So the thing is, and that just makes it even better that Sami Zayn is the first person to kind of take that, and it's on with WWE cameras. But these two, as I said, are just destined to do it forever. I just wanted to touch quickly on the Sami Zayn and CM Punk match, though, if that's all right, because those guys put on an absolute classic. And you know, every so often you get these kind of matches where this is how you do it kind of match. They didn't do anything that hasn't been done before. They just did everything spectacularly to the highest level. Every move they did made sense. They built up to the big moves really well.
Mm-hmm.
The close falls were brilliant. I really thought it could have gone either way. And Punk was the right winner in that as well. But yeah, that's my thoughts on.
I like the breakdown a lot. I like the Hell in a Cell idea. There's only one thing that you said that I slightly disagree with.
Okay.
And that is the idea of them wrestling in a singles match against each other at Chamber. Don't do that. We don't need two more. Sami, hang on, because let me get to my thing, and then I'll give you the shot. Don't worry, we have plenty of time. But we got plenty of time. The only reason I say that is we need one more with Sami and Kevin right at this stage. That's my personal belief, right?
Okay.
2 more is too many. But here's how you do it. That's a happy medium. Put them both in the Chamber match and have them wrestle that match with so much emotion that their priority is not to win the match to earn a title shot at WrestleMania. It is to prevent the other one from doing so. Right. Because that is a great storyline in the Elimination Chamber. Then you can let them get hands on each other. And once they absolutely bloody each other inside of the chamber so much that they're pinned separately by different people involved in that match, and they realize if it wasn't for you, I could have finally got my shot. Kevin has been a world champion. Sami has not. And there is Sami's reason to go to that place where we can have that paint the canvas match. Because at this stage, Sami is enough of a babyface and enough of a good guy. We got to get him there where he's like, you're kidding me. You're so selfish. I tagged with you against my old friends and won the titles to get you into the main event. You've won the world title. I have not. Our resumes are similar in every single way. We get compared all the time because we're best friends, and this is ridiculous. And Sami is not the heel here.
No.
Because why would Kevin not want Sami to succeed in this situation? Why would Kevin possibly turn on Sami? Sami was there for him at the Rumble. We know he was. He tried. He tried. And that's how we get Sami there. If they're in a match at the Chamber, Arch, then somebody's got to win.
That's true.
Is my problem.
The thing is, right? No,
you can do a no contest.
No, not in a way. I mean,
you could. If it was main event, I wouldn't do a no contest.
No, but the thing is, I wouldn't do a no contest. I'd probably have Kevin Owens. If it was at the Chamber, I'd have Kevin Owens win the first one. And I think a lot of people think this kind of Sami Zayn kind of carrying cross stuff, it's leading to maybe a Sami Zayn heel turn. If you have KO kind of take the cheap way out, right, and win cheaply, and that just makes Sami just snap in his head, and he just snaps on KO after the match and just kind of sees a side of Sami that we've never seen before. I feel like that could work.
If KO be the babyface?
No, because that's the thing, is that Sami's still the babyface, but we're just seeing a vicious side of Sami that we've not seen really before in WWE. Do you know what I mean? And it also goes towards that kind of, you're kind of feeling sorry for KO, I guess, in a bit with the heel way, but I just think that doing it that way instead of having Sami just snap because of what he's been talking to Cross about, because we know Cross
just freaks out.
Yeah, I think that's the best way.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I think that's the best. I think that's the best way to do it is by the only way to do it is by having KO cheaply. If he wins cheaply, you're saying, you kidding me? We're in Toronto.
Yeah.
In a stadium. This is a big moment for both of us. And, I wanted to fight this until one of us couldn't move, and you're taking the cheap way out. You know what I mean? I think that's a good way to have Sami kind of snap while also not having him turn heel.
I don't mind it at all. Coby, obviously, I got to go to you. You reviewed last night's show. Talk to me really quick about KO Sami. If you're interested in the 3 stages and you want to give me your 3 stages, go for it. If you got a different stipulation in mind, go for that as well. But let's hear about it.
The biggest thing that I kind of want to snowball with is the fact that you were kind of mentioning, like, put them in the Chamber. And the biggest thing that I want to go with is I don't want that to happen, simply because that's what we're going to get with CM Punk and Seth Rollins. The fact of the matter is I'm not going to, if I'm the WWE, and of course I'm not, but I'm not going to put two similar angles in one match. I'm not going to make it so that Seth and Punk hate each other so much that they want to cost each other the Chamber, as well as Kevin and Sami being the reason neither win the Chamber match. To me, that's a little too much, and that kind of desaturates the angle of, these two men in the Chamber is
very fair.
Such a volatile situation that it makes no sense to do it twice. To me, like we said, the match itself, Sami Zayn versus CM Punk, was tremendous. Arguably the best match on Raw on Netflix. To me, what I want to look at is, and I continue to look at the bigger picture. If the move is Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, are we really going to do WrestleMania 41 without Randy Orton?
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Because that'd be way too bizarre. And I know I kind of got into the fight with Ben about this, and I know Ben's hitting home about it being Cody versus Randy Orton. That makes no sense to me. The move is you're going to do Kevin and Sami in Toronto, and you're going to have Kevin Owens nearly injure Sami Zayn. Like, if he does maybe he does a package pile driver to win, and then he goes for another one, and then that's when you hear the voices. You're going to to me, the Mania match is Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, because I don't know where else Randy Orton fits. because I don't think it's Cody Rhodes, because I think that's John Cena. And I think
Right.
this is the brilliance of it, is we are sitting here saying this makes sense for WrestleMania. I'm saying this makes sense for WrestleMania. There are so many things that we can sit here and, if we're using the analogy of a puzzle, we have so many solutions. And I think that's the brilliance of this.
Well,
You've made my
so-
wheels
right
spin though,
so-
Coby. So hang
so-
on. Let me jump in here, my friends. So John Cena is awesome. And I love the idea of him being in that main event with Cody Rhodes. He's
Right.
obviously, his resume speaks for itself. I like to make fun of him as I do like to make fun of Cody, but I do have immense respect. Cena, Orton, ultimate rivalry. Orton, Cody, interesting relationship, lifetime, and we've never really seen anything at this level like that. John Cena did a heck of a job in that Rumble with a lot of people around him to maybe make up for some things like ring rust, time outside of the ring, and whatnot. Inserting an Orton into that match actually makes more logical sense. So Orton, Cody, I'm in agreement with you on Cody. Cobe. Singles doesn't make sense to me. Orton, Kevin does make sense too. But if you have Orton, Cody, Cena, there's that buffer there, so Cena can put in his best performance. Given he's been away so long, given he's not working as often as he has, not that I don't trust John Cena, but that works. And you have both storylines. I don't hate that idea. The only thing is, to your point earlier, there is something that needs to be paid off between him and Kevin Owens.
But what I was just going to say,
Go ahead,
what if we switch it, right? So we do Kevin Owens and Randy Orton at Elimination Chamber, and Sami Zayn's out until Elimination Chamber, and KO's about to hit the package pile driver on Randy Orton, and Sami Zayn gets that massive pop in Toronto, coming out to make the save.
Archie.
And then you do Cody, Cena, Randy, and KO and Sami at WrestleMania.
But I think that also means Cena.
But who would that hurt? Nobody. That would be. I like this. Is really fun because honestly,
yeah,
I think we've presented like two to four ideas that are not only possible but could work, would work. I love that one. Yeah, I mean, honestly, we could break this down. It's like a math equation at this stage.
It's a picture. It's a puzzle.
And even I had it considered when I was presenting my chamber idea. Coby, you made a great point earlier that I did want to give you a lot of credit for. It's the same story as Punk and Rollins, and that's tough because that's 4 of 6 competitors. Now we're looking at
maybe even Rowan as well, who's added into it.
2/3 of the match willing
like
not willing to take each other.
Yeah, and then what do we have? Cena and one other. Like that makes things difficult. But what is not difficult is that does bring us to the end of today's show. Thank you so much, everybody that tuned in. We really do appreciate it. We will be back the same time, the same place tomorrow. It's noon over here on the West Coast. It's 3:00 on the East Coast of the United States. It's of course 8 p.m. in the UK and 9 a.m. for my friends in Hawaii. Have an awesome one. On behalf of me, Clark, Coby, Archie, and everybody at Wrestling Republic, we will talk to you soon.